In the early 2000s, WWE was one of the most watched shows on cable television, especially in the Midwest. Cities like Cleveland and Columbus didn't just watch wrestling, they lived it. Every Monday night, the arena lights went down and icons lit up on the screen. But these weren't just fighters. They were characters turned into personal brands. The Rock wasn't just a wrestler. He was a media entity. Stone Cold, a movement. The Undertaker, a walking myth. They built emotional connections through storytelling, performance, and spectacle. And somewhere in Westlake, Ohio, a kid was watching, absorbing, not just the hype, but the strategy. Before Logan Paul ever stepped into the WWE ring, before he boxed Mayweather or turned Prime into a billion-dollar brand, he was just another loud Ohio kid glued to the screen, watching characters build empires. He didn't just study the legends, he reflected them. In what they did with arenas and Titantrons, he did with phones and algorithms. He made a character, built a brand, and then turned it into a business. This isn't a story about wrestling. It's a story about reinvention, relevance, and how Logan Paul flipped the internet's hate into heavyweight status. Let's break it down. There wasn't a master plan or a media team, just two brothers filming, editing, and uploading until timing finally met opportunity. What started out as trial and error slowly built into momentum. Vine launched in early 2013, and by the end of the year, Logan was already gaining traction fast. Logan's first upload on the platform, a video of him pretending to be a lifeguard and blowing a whistle, yelling out, "Get out of the water," was quick, weird, and unforgettable. Little did he know that his first 15 minutes of fame would spring from 7-second videos. And suddenly the kid from Ohio wasn't just posting, he was shaping the platform. But even as Logan gained momentum, it was actually Jake who initially held the spotlight. As a rising star in MagCon, the wildly popular meet and greet collective, Jake actually became the poster boy for teen Vine fame. Logan wasn't part of MagCon, but he carved out his own lane, surrounding himself with a crew of fellow creators who acted more like a digital wrestling faction than a friend group. Together, they produced a steady stream of chaotic, often shirtless, 7-second stunts and skits that actually hit hard with young audiences, especially teenage girls. These weren't just jokes, they were performances designed to make hearts race and fan accounts multiply. And for the first time, the idea of creator as a crush took center stage. It wasn't polished, but it was powerful. And Logan understood how to lean into it. He might have been second to Jake in terms of followers, but that didn't matter. He was building something stickier. A style, a presence, and a loyal audience who followed, not because he was perfect, but because he was everywhere. But what people miss is that his early success wasn't accidental. It was engineered through obsession. He treated short form like a sport, testing formats, studying reactions, and iterating really fast. You don't need viral luck, you need reps that make you undeniable. By the time most creators were just starting to find their voice, Logan had already outgrown his first platform. When Vine collapsed in 2016, a lot of creators stalled out, but Logan and Jake didn't flinch. They pivoted together and fast. So the Paul brothers moved to YouTube and brought their audiences with them. But this time, Logan turned things up a notch. He leveled up his content, bigger sets, tighter edits, wider stunts, the same energy but with better tools, higher stakes, and total control. He wasn't just trying to entertain anymore, he was building an engine. This is where most creators get stuck. They cling on to what worked instead of leaning into what's next. But Logan understood something fundamental. Platforms come and go, but if your identity stays flexible, your audience comes with you, because the real brand isn't the format, it's the force behind it. The most impactful creators evolve in phases: generalist, specialist, authority, guru, and eventually they become the kind of person others model after, the guru's guru. If Vine was Logan's training camp, then YouTube was the main stage. And in 2017, he made his boldest move yet: daily vlogging, every single day. Not just check-ins or recaps, full throttle, high production, cinematic chaos. Logan wasn't documenting, he was directing. Skits, stunts, songs, guest stars, every day became a mini movie, and every upload fed into something bigger. Behind the scenes, he was building Maverick, a merch brand named after his pet parrot. But it wasn't just about hoodies, it was about identity. He didn't just sell clothing, he sold rebellion, boldness, the outsider archetype. Maverick was lifestyle storytelling wrapped in limited drops and high FOMO. Most creators just try to monetize views, but Logan turned viewership into loyalty, and loyalty into a funnel. He was testing what we now call parasocial commerce, building products that felt like extensions of the relationship fans already had with them. And it worked. Maverick reportedly brought in over $30 million in a single year. By the end of 2017, Logan wasn't just on top of YouTube, he was YouTube. His daily vlogs were pulling in tens of millions of views, and his merch was flying off the shelves. His name had become a brand in every sense of the word. But then, everything cracked. On December 31st, 2017, Logan uploaded a video filmed in the Japanese forest, also known as the Suicide Forest. The video showed the body of a man who died by suicide. It wasn't staged, it was real, and it sparked immediate outrage. The backlash was swift and severe. Logan Paul's career in crisis after posting suicide video. YouTube star Logan Paul apologizes after posting video with suicide victim. YouTube star slammed for showing dead body. YouTube suspended ads on Logan's channel. He was removed from Google's preferred and dropped from projects like the original series Foursome. Sponsors disappeared, fellow creators condemned him, fans turned. The pressure was relentless. The scandal wasn't just a misstep, it was a full-on crisis, the kind that takes down most internet stars permanently. Because when your name is your brand, there's nowhere to hide. Every mistake gets magnified, every consequence gets personal. But here's what makes Logan's story different. He didn't vanish. He didn't quit. He confronted it. Slowly, clumsily, publicly, and started to rebuild. When Logan returned after the Japan scandal, he didn't try to pretend like nothing happened. He made fewer jokes, spoke more carefully, and traded his manic vlog energy for a slower, more introspective pace. He launched Impulsive in late 2018, a podcast that gave him a space to be more than a punchline. Through long-form conversations with athletes, comedians, and even his harshest critics, Logan gave the audience something unexpected: vulnerability. There was one moment in particular, an interview with the suicide prevention advocate Kevin Hines, and that marked a turning point. Instead of defending himself, Logan listened. He asked real questions. He admitted that he didn't have all the answers.
Like I said, I made a huge mistake. I want to apologize to the victim and his family.
And in doing that, he earned something that's hard to get back on the internet: grace. He wasn't trying to erase the past. He was owning it. Sometimes awkwardly, sometimes with humor, but always with intention. Documenting the rebuild turned shame into story, and story is what earns belief. The podcast gave him control of the narrative again, not through apology videos, but through consistency and perspective. Remember, short form grows the algorithm, long form controls the narrative. Around that time, when people still didn't take creators seriously, Logan and KSI stepped into a ring and proved that internet fame could sell out arenas. The event didn't just get views, it changed how creators were seen. It sparked a wave. YouTubers, TikTokers, even ex-NBA players started suiting up for matches. South Park spoofed it, late night hosts mocked it, but it was real, and it worked. The audience saw something they had never seen from Logan before: discipline, grit, a full character arc. He documented all in real time. He trained hard, he took hits, and he earned respect. Because the smartest move came after the gloves came off. But the thing is, redemption isn't a straight line. Humans are messy, and even the best comebacks have plot twists. For Logan, that twist was CryptoZoo. In September 2021, he launched CryptoZoo with hype. This is the future of blockchain gaming, a fun collectible game that lets you earn. Investors poured in. The market cap soared. People bought in because they believed in him. But then, it crashed. The game didn't work. The features never materialized. Investors who trusted his brand lost thousands. For some, it was everything. The community that had rallied behind Logan's comeback felt betrayed. And this wasn't just another scandal. This was different. Because this time, it wasn't a bad joke or a reckless vlog. It was a failed business. And when a creator's name is the brand, a bad product is a bomb. And for months, Logan went silent. My initial response was fire, ego, and pride. I was defensive because I know I never scammed anyone, but suing CoffeeZilla is not going to help CryptoZoo holders. I need to focus my attention there. He publicly committed $1.3 million for refunds. He tried to repair the damage, but for many, the apology felt like a little too late. So what do you do when your project crashes? Do you disappear, spiral, blame the market, or do you lean back into what you know best, your brand? That's exactly what Logan did. He leaned into the WWE, not as a gimmick, not as a distraction, but as a stage, a place where redemption became performance, where the kid who once watched The Rock and Stone Cold from his living room could now leap off the top rope against Roman Reigns. The WWE wasn't just entertainment, it was narrative control, a reminder that Logan wasn't just a creator, he was a character arc. But even as the crowd watched him perform, he was building something else, something far more scalable, Prime. In 2022, Logan and KSI, once internet enemies, launched Prime. The rollout wasn't just hype, it was a well-timed sequel. From rivals to business partners, from punches to product, and the fan base already bought in. They didn't just ride the buzz, they engineered it. Prime launched into a market saturated with big names like Gatorade, Powerade, Body Armor, and still managed to punch through. From viral YouTube ads to UFC partnerships, Logan and KSI turned their rivalry into retail power. And Logan wasn't just a face, he was behind the business. From packaging decisions to international expansion, Prime's rapid success became one of the clearest examples of how creator-led products could dominate legacy retail. He turned narrative into distribution. That's not luck, that's leverage. Logan and KSI didn't just sell a drink, they sold the resolution of a story arc that millions had emotionally invested in. That's not just product marketing, that's narrative sequencing at scale. Most influencers pitch brands. Logan and KSI became one. Prime is what happens when your brand story is so sticky, it makes the product feel inevitable. The kid who once watched WrestleMania from a couch in Ohio was now the main event in Saudi Arabia. He didn't just earn the spotlight, he made it part of his blueprint. He went the distance against Floyd Mayweather, not as a joke, not as a cameo, but as a headliner. It wasn't a viral moment. This was legacy in motion. Logan's story wasn't clean, it wasn't always smart, but it was intentional. Each phase, from skits to scandal to scale, added a new layer to his brand. He proved that if you could keep showing up, keep learning, and keep shaping your story, people will follow you through the plot twists. That's not virality, that's longevity. And that's how personal brands outgrow platforms and start shaping the culture instead of chasing it. So there you have it, the complete architecture of attention. Not just a comeback story, but a blueprint for reinvention in real time. Because what Logan did wasn't luck. It was structured, sequenced, repeatable. This is what the new era of creators are building toward. Not just platforms, but power. Not just content, but control. They're not chasing trends, they're architecting ecosystems. The question isn't whether the system works, it's whether you'll build it for yourself. Engineer attention systems. Build strategic partners with former rivals. Evolve your identity before market obsolescence. Create narrative control through owned media. Convert suffering into strategic leverage. Build an attention ecosystem. Transform from entertainer to movement leader. Create parasocial growth partnerships with your audience. Because guru-level brands don't just entertain, they endure. The architecture of attention doesn't care where you start, only that you start.